Hi, welcome to my workshop. My name's Darren and today I want to talk to you about the Ryobi SDS drill. An SDS drill is primarily used for masonry, so concrete, brick, stone, that sort of thing. And what makes them special is the way they work. So if we grab our old friend, the hammer drill here, the way that works when that's on a hammer function is the whole chuck, this is the chuck here, the whole chuck moves in and out by spinning around an uneven ring at the back, basically a ring with lumps in it, and that forces the head to move in and out. There's only a small amount of movement, and so while that does help you drill things like brick, in concrete, especially reinforced concrete with something like aggregate or steel in it, makes it very hard to drill because it gets that far and it just stops basically. So not ideal for drilling thick concrete slabs. This is an SDS drill will drill through concrete slabs with or without nice stone reinforcement in seconds. They just eat through them like it's a hot knife through butter. And the reason for that is the way in which it works. So inside an SDS drill, as well as the motor spinning the head this way, there is a piston which slides up and down and bashes our bit. An SDS drill gets its name from the slotted drive shaft that it uses. The drive shaft is actually part of the drill bit, as opposed to having a moving chuck like a hammer drill. A puck driven by a piston bashes the end here like a little hammer and hammers the tip here in and out of the concrete, but there's more movement because we've got the full stroke here of these slots. So we get more hammering as the thing drills. It's one of the reasons it drills quicker. There are a range of different bits available for an SDS drill. We've got these chisel bits which work very much like a chisel and can be good for removing rough bits of mortar off an old brick so you can reuse the brick, or cutting out a hole for a power point in the wall, you name it. This little fella is ideal for cutting channels through masonry. If you wanted to run, say, a cable or maybe a bit of conduit, use that to get out that groove. Obviously we have drill bits for drilling our regular holes, which you've just seen. And this last one is a demolition spike. It's designed to break things apart. So you could use it, for example, for removing tiles from a wall or tiles from a floor, or as I've done recently in my back garden, and you will soon see, for smashing up an old block of concrete I wanted to get rid of. Now, Ryobi being Ryobi, their instructions are more pictures than words and sometimes aren't all that clear. Some of the functions here are very obvious. Here we've got a hammer function which just drives the head backwards and forwards. That's ideal for this bit like the demolition bit here, because all it's got to do is come backwards and forwards and smash. If we take it up to here, this is where we're going to be using it most of the time, especially when we're drilling, because it's going to hammer and it's going to twist and it's going to drill holes nice and quickly for us. And then over the back here, we've got the standard drill function where it spins without hammering. You might want to use that perhaps for starting off a hole, just to keep it nice and precise. But let's say you want to use something like this chisel head here, and you want to have the chisel head run along the top of your work like this. So you need it orientated in the drill correctly. When we first stick this fella in the drill, there's only certain ways it'll go into the chuck. And then 90 degrees apart. That just happens to be correct at the moment, and that's good luck. What if we needed our drill bit to be at a different angle to this though, because of the way we had to get into there? So what we can do is we can flick this knob over to here, and then that allows us to adjust this so we've got this at the angle we want it, and once it's exactly where we want it, we can flick it back to hammer and see that's stuck there now. That's no longer spinning around easily, and we can chisel with it. The drill also comes with this handy depth stop rod, and I'm glad to say it's metal, not plastic. Now we can stick that in there. There we go. And so when we drill our hole in the wall here with this drill bit, it'll stop when we get to there. And so we can set that to whatever depth we need for drilling the walls. Pretty straightforward. Something else that I really like are these regular stops around the collar for the handle. So we can unscrew the handle and it'll stop every 90 degrees and tighten in. And I think with something like this, especially if you're using it like a jackhammer, it's good that that's not going to slip. It's going to stay where it is. You can position it between those stops if you want to, like so, and tighten it up well. So if you really needed to, you could use it at an angle, but it's just, I think it's encouraging to know that you can lock it right in there at the 90-degree positions. When you're using something with this much torque, you want to be able to hold it still with both hands. You don't want to have this thing spinning around and twisting your wrist out of its socket. Another nice feature is this little shock absorber between the body of the machine and the hand grip. Sure, it's connected around here, but this is where the piston is. So as the piston comes backwards and forwards, rather than it transfer all that vibration into your hand, this little dampener absorbs it. And having used the drill now, I can say yes, it works, and I'm very glad it's there. As you can see, this is a brushless motor in this one, so I always prefer a brushless motor, mainly because you never have to replace the brushes. They are also a little bit more efficient. So how does an SDS drill compare to a standard hammer drill? Alright, let's take a look. Alright, first up, the drill. Alright, that was pretty quick. Okay, now to do the same thing with the SDS. So there's definitely a speed difference there, but not as much in brick as what you would get in reinforced concrete. I actually lost the audio to this part, but this is a piece of reinforced concrete. It's reinforced with stone aggregate. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my drill and my SDS and make a comparison between the two, drilling into them, and also try the different bits that the SDS drill can use. Oh, interference from the dog. Here's the drill bit in a standard brushless hammer drill, and at that point I've hit a stone, so I can't really go any further. Yeah, no, it's not getting anywhere, so at this point I'm getting worried that it's going to make the drill blunt. So yep, that's the end of it for that one. And that's what I'm talking about. Concrete is often much more difficult to drill than something like brick. So here's the SDS drill, and it's also a 6mm bit, same as the hammer drill. And there you go, with no problems. It's gone past the depth that we were able to go in the other one, and to the full depth we had available to us. But I'm going to drill just a couple more holes just to sort of, you know, make sure I wasn't lucky and missed the stones. Pretty difficult to do. And here we go, that one went in like a hot knife through butter as well. Let's try this demolition bit, see what it does. Okay, you can see how much movement there is in here for it to hammer. Now this one, there's no need for it to twist, so I'm going to flip it just back onto the hammer function around here, and we'll see what that does. That's handy. I might actually finally be able to throw this concrete away. I've had this for years sitting in the corner of the garden because I couldn't go in the bin. Now with this I can demolish the thing. Excellent. Well, let's try a couple of other bits. What else have we got? We've of course got a chisel bit, which isn't really appropriate for this, but we'll give it a whirl. I think with a bit of practice you could actually carve stone with one of these. I was getting a reasonable sort of a finish there. It's the first time I've ever used it, so that's good. What about this last weird shaped bit? Let's give that a whirl. See what we can do with that. Dog, stay back, mate. You go away, don't want to hit you with a stone. Further, good boy, good boy. There you go, so you could chase a little groove with it to run a cable. Excellent. So no doubt at this point a lot of you will be thinking, well, I've got a hammer drill and I really only ever drill brick. I'm not drilling through concrete. So why should I spend my money on an SDS drill? Well, if you're asking that question, the answer is no, you shouldn't. This is the sort of thing that most people could just go out and hire for the number of times they use it. Although that said, this cost me 300 bucks, so there's only a few times you could hire something like this before it becomes more economical to buy it, which is exactly why I've done that. But for you, perhaps you will never need it. This is for someone who's going to be drilling concrete, smashing or drilling through stone, and doing really hard masonry tasks that something like this struggles in. If you find you're doing some masonry drilling and the bits are getting dull too quick and the whole thing's too much of an effort, that's when it's time to reach for the SDS. Hanging a picture on the wall, this will do the trick. Depending on your walls, of course, if you've got reinforced concrete walls, then you're going to need one of these. One thing I didn't mention earlier was that there's a little light there so you can see what you're doing. That is well positioned, comes in quite handy. The other SDS drills I've used have been corded and they've been good. I've had no problem with them, but they've been corded and cords are a pain in the bum. This is the first battery SDS I've used, and the lack of a cord is a wonderful thing. Long story short, very happy with this, glad I bought it. It's helped me smash up some old concrete and get rid of that has been sitting in the garden for a few years now. And this just knocked it apart in a couple of minutes. Brilliant. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this has been of some help. Have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.